Bienvenido a video número 2, números 12 a 20. Número 12. They didn't believe the trip could leave without all the students. Ellos no creían que el viaje pudiera viajar sin todos los alumnos. Once again, no creer as establishing lack of doubt. So, subjunctive, imperfect in creían, imperfect subjunctive. 13. She was surprised that I knew her. Here I want to point out several previous structures that are taking place. First is she was surprised. Sorprender is a verb that very much functions like gustar. So, I need to start off with a ella le sorprendió. Remember how all verbos como gustar incorporate the a plus the person that we are referring to. It almost acts as a clarifying agent, followed by our indirect object pronoun. Since it's ella, the matching indirect object pronoun is le. And then sorprendió, which will be in a form of the third person, because it either corresponds to a singular or a plural entity. In this case, it's the fact that I knew her, which is just considered one collective subject. It makes it third person singular. It happens to be in the past, and this emotional statement does indicate the subjuntivo. So since I have the preterite, I need the imperfecto de subjuntivo. Lastly, note the use of the direct object pronoun la to relate to her. 14. They are surprised that we are here already. Once again, we have the use of gustar in the form of sorprender. Just this time, it's in the present. So, present tense, presente de subjuntivo. 15. She didn't want her kids to reach the cabinet. Ella no quería que sus hijos alcanzaran la alacena. So, querer que, which we already have established, is a very important and common indicator of the subjuntivo because it's expressing the wanting someone else to do something. That is in the imperfect, so we need the imperfecto de subjuntivo of the verb alcanzar. 16. It's obvious that's a Monet. Es obvio que es un Monet. Note that once we say es obvio que, we do not have subjunctive because we do not have any doubt. We have truth, a statement of fact, and therefore I just use the present tense indicative. 17. She always demanded that people turn off the lights. Ella siempre exigía que la gente apagara las luces. So she always demanded. I'm going to use the verb exigir. You can also use the sinónimo mandar. And it's in the imperfect. And demand is a verb of influence. So that carries a subjuntivo. And since this is in the imperfect, the imperfecto de subjuntivo. Apagar in its form apagar. 18. Was it necessary to do that? I want to point out some interesting characteristics. How many clauses do we have here? Who's the subject? So on and so forth. If you look down here, ¿era necesario hacer esto? You'll notice that I do not have any need for the subjunctive because I do not have a well-defined second clause. And since I don't have that, after my saying era necesario, I don't need que, because there is no defined second clause that this is relating to. But since I do not have que, note that the last verb I mentioned was a conjugated verb. Therefore, my next verb within the same clause has to be infinitive. 19. She needs the report, and she wants you to send it to her. Ella necesita el informe y quiere que tú se lo mandes. So, my first part is nothing unusual. She needs the report. There's nothing subjunctive about that. But in the second part, she wants you to send it to her. Now we have the querer que. She is trying to get influence over your actions. She wants you to do something. So quiere que, tú, and here notice, in addition to my present subjunctive, my use of two pronouns. Both are complements. Direct, indirect. All right? And remember, when we have those two, indirect first, direct second. Since I used the word informe for report, that makes it lo. And just as a refresher, this is se to replace the indirect object le to her. But I cannot combine le and lo in this case. So I make the le into se. Since quiere is in the present tense, presente de subjuntivo. Y número 20, it was a shame the Titanic sank. Era una lástima que se hundiera el Titanic. And ser una lástima is an emotional expression. Some also consider it an impersonal expression. So it always takes the subjuntivo. And hundirse is the verb reflexive, the reflexive verb to sink. So se hundiera el Titanic. Because I have the imperfect of ser, I need the imperfecto de subjuntivo. Gracias chicos y nos vemos en clase.